Hi, everyone, and welcome. Today's guest is Corey Kirkby. He's a solutions architect here at Bumper Leads. He's been a solutions architect now for 10 years, helping our clients build marketing growth systems using automations, CRM. He's super advanced. He does lots of complex integrations, and we've been working together on something to help clients protect their data, especially CRMs. And today I wanted to have him on so that he can share more examples of what clients go through when they sign up to a CRM and they might lose data through some attacks, which has been happening a lot recently. AI taking over, there's more and more of these types of attacks coming. I can just tell you, my phone always rings with voice AI agents, which is now screened by Apple, which is great. I just wanted to ask Corey first question, which is how important it is to think about data and to back up your CRM data. Because I think a lot of customers that we work with, they often think that, oh, I signed up to a CRM. Surely everything is now backed up and working. All my data is protected. So, can you tell us from your experience what actually happens with your CRM data?
So obviously, when you're using a CRM, whether that's ActiveCampaign, HubSpot, whatever that might be, all that data sits with your provider, whether that's ActiveCampaign or whatever that provider might be. And that's essentially where it stays. If you want to get any of that data in the likes for ActiveCampaign, it's up to you as the user to go in, and if you know where to look, you can obviously download your contacts as a CSV file. You can download segments, you can download deals, you can download all that kind of information. But there's a lot of different little things that sort of, I guess, you can't download. So things such as taking a snapshot of your entire, if you've got 5 or 6 pipelines with different salespeople, you've got global teams with dedicated salespeople per pipeline and all these kinds of things. That's where it gets a little bit more tricky, because essentially you're downloading the information such as the deals, but then if things go really wrong and those pipelines disappear, then you're stuck rebuilding those pipelines so that you can then feed that data back into the system to rebuild everything. So it's a very, very manual, hard labor task. It will take a very long time to actually get things back and running, where your sales team can actually start closing off those deals on the pipeline and everything else. So there's a lot of work in regards to what happens when you export that data and how to get it back into the CRM once it is exported.
Can you give me an example that we can share with our audience of what can typically happen when there is a hack or somebody accidentally, deletes the database? What usually happens?
Usually, obviously, there's the freak out moment. So you go into your CRM, or someone else goes into your CRM and realize that either you've done something wrong or another team member's done something wrong, or even worse, there's been an external malicious hack that's come in and done something to your database. So we've actually had an example where we had a client that essentially had over 100,000 contacts in their database, and they logged off on a Friday, went home over the weekend, came back, and their account was blocked. Someone had hacked into their system, wiped out their entire database, filled it with a whole lot of bogus contacts, and then used their account to basically start spamming these people. So your domain reputation from email gets destroyed, and essentially you're left holding the bag. And unfortunately, it's not a very nice bag to be holding. It can
That's like
get really messy.
hundreds of thousands of dollars gone.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, there's not just the contacts, there's the opportunities on the pipelines, there's all of these things that a business really relies on to actually function on a day-to-day basis. And you imagine if all of that just disappeared and you've got nowhere to go. So if you don't have someone rigorously downloading every single deal, every single contact, and making sure that data's somewhere else apart from in the CRM itself, then you don't have a way of actually getting that data.
A lot of people, yeah, get stuck on that. You only realize you have this problem when something like this happens. And security is very important. And you would expect that these big platforms, like CRM platforms, might actually have easy backups. But most of the time, they don't really do that. So you rely on these export CSV files, right? That's what
Yes.
typically our clients do.
And unfortunately, those CSV files, again, they're very restricted. They don't give you an easy way to actually quickly, apart from the contacts, you can easily re-import the contacts and it's going to come back into the system. That's not a problem. It's more around pipelines and deals and how we actually could bring that back into the CRM to basically have that snapshot put straight back in so that your sales team can continue working. That's where things get really hard and difficult.
Exactly. Like I know that you've been working with some clients who have big databases. They might have hundreds of automations, hundreds of forms, so much information, not just contact data, but all this time and energy invested in building automated systems that, if that disappears, because that can also disappear, you've just lost all that as a business.
Absolutely. We quite often let our clients know there's certain things that the ActiveCampaign API can and can't see. And automations is one of those things that the API can't see. It can see it when it wants to bring that. So you can export, you can see that on the export, but you can't import it back into the database. So that's why we quite often, for our clients, we would have like large Google Sheets that are basically with all the automation share URLs saved so that we can sort of re-import those if we need to. So that's sort of something that again you would have to do manually. And there's just a lot of different things that you have to really think about to make sure that your data is not just sitting in one place. It's somewhere else that's secure and can be easily backed up if we need to.
Yeah, I agree. So that's why we were working on a solution, and you've spent quite a long time coming up with this idea of easily restoring your CRM data with one click, just having a single click, restoring everything back. So if you are in a situation where you have a database that's been hacked, or maybe some crazy employee decided that they will delete, export, and we've had those situations as well, try and take all your data away or delete your account. You can easily back it up. Could you share with us this idea of restoring the CRM, which you called the CRM Restore, the product that we'll be offering to all our customers who use ActiveCampaign, because it only specifically works with ActiveCampaign. So you can actually give us a bit of a demo on that and show us how easy it is to work with.
Well, I've gone through the website already. I've done the sign up process, and I've basically landed on the dashboard that you as a customer would land on when you go into ActiveCampaign or go into different softwares. So in CRM Restore, whenever we're doing projects for our clients, I'll just take a step back. Whenever I'm doing projects for our clients, we always do the really hard work behind the scenes so that the user or the salesperson using the has to do the bare minimum so that they can get the sale, get their business going in the right direction quickly. So we've done a lot of the hard work in regards to what CRM Restore does in the background so that you can almost set and forget it. It's basically a one-click install. And as soon as it's connected, it's just going to keep running on a 24-hour basis. So I'll just share my screen. I've got a blank account, and we're essentially going to connect our Bumper Leads sandbox account. And there's already some test data that we've got in there that we can then bring across. So we'll show you what that backup looks like. And more importantly, I'm going to then do some very malicious things inside our account, such as I'll delete a few contact records, which look, that isn't too bad. But then I might delete like an entire pipeline, which has different opportunities on it. And then I might just delete a stage in another pipeline just to show you how easy and how quickly this restore function can work. So I guess let's have a look, yeah?
Yeah, let's do this.
So when you first land on CRM Restore, when you first log in, you're essentially going to land on the Get Started page, which is what we're on now. It's just running through a quick video, which again is sort of just showing you how easy it is to use the platform, how easy it is to make a connection, and essentially what happens. Below that, we actually have the backup and restore capabilities between CRM Restore and ActiveCampaign. So you can see, obviously, there's green, amber, and red. And this sort of just shows you what can be backed up. So this is what's coming from ActiveCampaign into CRM Restore, and then what can be restored. So this is actually CRM Restore pushing this data back into ActiveCampaign. So as you scroll down, there's a lot of green on the Restore side, but there are parts that are red as well. That's predominantly around the automations, email templates, and things like this. So the good thing is you can see even the webhooks have got a full restore point, so that's fantastic. So again, automations, they don't have a restore point for automations, but we have actually set up a automation share library, which you can actually then use to actually save all your automations in CRM Restore as well. So let's get started. Let's actually make a connection. So if I go into my dashboard, currently there's nothing here because we haven't got a connection. So we're going to make a connection now. So I'm going to go into connections. It's going to ask me to add my first connection. And then it's going to ask you to put in a name. Typically that would be the ActiveCampaign account. So I'm just going to call this AC test. And my keyboard is not working. There we go. Now it's going to ask you for your API URL and key. For that, you need to go into your ActiveCampaign account. So I'll just go into that now. I'm going to go into the settings. And I'm going to go to developer. Now, it's always best to use the main admin for the account for this connection, just purely because each user actually has their own API key. And if that user ever left, then obviously that connection would be lost. So it's always best to use the main admin for this. So I'm going to copy that API URL first. I'm going to go back into CRM Restore. I'm going to put that URL there. I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab the key. Now I'm going to add my connection. And it's already showing that the connection's active. So what happens is as soon as you do a connect, it will actually start to do a backup. And you can see that there's already one backup here. So if we go into our dashboard now, you can see that the connection is there. We have a backup and the storage and everything else. Looks like it may not have done a backup on the AC test. So let's just have a quick look at the backup information. Aha. So it's actually still running. So that's why it didn't show the actual information. So that might just take a little bit of time because obviously this is the first time it's doing a backup. So let's just wait to see that run and finish. So essentially, let's just run the inspect to have a look. Aha, so it's actually completed. Wonderful. So we've got the actual download now. You can see the contacts, the automations, the tags, the deals, the pipelines, the different stages across the pipelines. And more importantly, down the bottom, you've actually got the automation share links. So obviously, we highlighted on the dashboard, on the Get Started tab, that there was a whole lot of different things that weren't restorable. And a lot of those are actually automations. So understanding that that was a limitation on the Restore, we decided that we'd actually have, okay, now it's actually showing the full information there. So you can see 6.77 megabytes of information on that test account. So the automation share links just allow you to actually make sure that you can save your ActiveCampaign automations, which is super important because obviously you spend a lot of time creating your automations, So you want somewhere secure to save them. Again, we've been using Google Sheets to do this for our clients, and that does work very well, but it's always best to have it somewhere. If I go into my automations, let's just quickly copy one and put it into CRM Restore so you can see how easy it is to actually copy an automation. So we might just do this contact engagement automation. So I'm just going to copy the name now as a first step. I'm going to add my link. So essentially I'm going to give it the name. So I'm going to give it the exact name that it's inside my account. And then you just get that share URL. So I'm basically going to copy that, go into the CRM Restore, and save. So now that is actually in the system. And if you ever need to repaste it back into your ActiveCampaign, it's as simple as just hitting the copy. So the link is copied. You can then just go straight back into ActiveCampaign. Let's say, which one did I copy? Engagement part 1. So I'm just going to delete that one now. So again, this is manual, and unfortunately the automation side is manual, but at least this way you can at least import that automation quickly back into the system. So let's start from scratch. We're going to import that automation into the system now. I'm going to paste that recipe. And the automation will start to load. Now, if there are triggers and so forth, you'll just have to make sure that you go through the setup wizard and complete any of those steps that might have dropped off on the copy. But again, that automation is copied. Let's move over into the more exciting part, which is actually the restore part. So you can see here, it's currently restored all of these deals and automations. So let's look in the deal pipeline and have a look at some of the deals that are there. So you can see there's quite a few different pipelines we have here, and there's quite a lot of contacts on different stages. So let's say that for some reason, let's say a salesperson actually had full admin capabilities, which shouldn't happen, but let's say a salesperson did, and they accidentally went in and did this. And for some reason they went, yeah, I know what I'm doing. You know, we need to get rid of this. We need to move it to another pipeline or something like that. And they accidentally deleted it. So again, that information is now gone. So if I refresh my screen, all of a sudden that wine sales pipeline, that goes from 25 deals down to only a couple. So that's one of the things that could go wrong. So you can see that that pipeline has now lost that stage and all the deals that are attached to it. So unfortunately, if you do that, the deals are gone. Let's go into another sales pipeline. And we're just going to delete one deal. So just remember Zoe Sanchez, we're going to delete her. We're going to get rid of that deal, but we need for that deal to come back. So we're going to go into the deal. It's obviously Zoe, and we're going to delete the actual deal. So now Zoe's gone. So let's just stay there for a moment. So we've got the sales pipeline where we deleted a deal. We've got the wine sales pipeline where we deleted an entire stage with all the deals in it. Let's just go one step further, and we're just going to go into our content. Okay, so we had Zoe on the deal. We remember that. Let's get rid of Aaron Morgan. So we're going to archive Aaron. Okay, so we've done a few things. We've archived a contact. We've deleted an entire stage full of deals. And we've actually removed Zoe from the sales pipeline. But it's okay because we have all the information sitting here. We're just going to hit the restore button. Now it comes up with a warning. And the warning is that essentially most CRM data is relational, meaning that you can't just upload a pipeline because obviously it has a deal attached to that pipeline and it has a contact attached to that deal. So we like to do the restore as a full restore, just knowing that it's not going to make any duplications. It's essentially just going to basically look at what was there before, what's there now, and then fix all those gaps. If there are things in your account that aren't currently there, let's say you don't have any accounts tied to your system, then that will just show as a gray like it does down here. We currently don't have any webhooks on our automations, but this will just highlight to show that there aren't any of those options available. So we have all of these options. We're going to hit the restore now. This is where you can actually follow the stage and see everything working. So when the actual restore happens, we do it in a very specific direction. So we will load tags first, then we'll load custom fields. We've loaded accounts, we're loading the pipelines. So essentially we're doing it all in a methodical way so that essentially all the data can tie back and link up together. So you can see we're now loading the contacts and the deals will be the very last thing that loads. So because this is a large pool of data, we're essentially redoing the entire account. So we just have to basically be a little bit patient and just wait for this to complete. Okay, so this is the fun part. This is where obviously we've done most of the malicious actions, is the deals. So we're going to see the deals start to build up soon. And you can see that that's the part that's taking the longest, and that's because there is the most amount of information that needs to be fixed. The fun thing is we can see this happen in real time. Deal updates start to happen. We'll actually go back into ActiveCampaign and we'll do a refresh on the actual screen and we'll see those deals magically all reappear. And this is really where the power of the CRM Restore comes in, because essentially it's doing all that hard work at a single click. Yes, it might take a little bit of time to feed through, but rest assured your entire system will go back exactly how it was before. Okay, so the deals are done. So let's go back into ActiveCampaign and see what's happened. So just remember we had a stage here, which was, I believe, orders shipped, and it had quite a few different deals in it. Currently, there's nothing there. Let's do a refresh on the screen. And look at that. We've literally got the in contact order processing stage back. It's even brought in the same color, so it remembered the stage color, and it's updated and brought in all of the contacts with their deals. So we've got 550,000 US dollars worth of deals, which are currently in order processing, which is a super important stage of the actual sales process, especially for wine sales company. They want to know what deals, what orders are being processed. So that's happened straight away. Let's go back into that. Now I'm trying to remember what pipeline it was. I believe it was sales pipeline. It might have been Shopify sales, but there should be now Zoe. Look, Zoe's back. So that's been restored. The last thing to do would be to check the actual contacts, because we restored a contact as well. Let's see if he came back as well. And Aaron Morgan's back. Not only is Aaron Morgan back, but he's got the tags that he had before. He'll be on the list that he was attached to before. So it really is a full restore. It brings back everything: tags, custom fields, lists, deals, deal pipelines, the works. So you saw how easy it was. All you needed to do was connect your API URL and key from ActiveCampaign. That automatically does a resync from the system. From here, it will then basically show the backup, and it will show your next backup time. So from the first backup, it will then back up every 24 hours from there on in.
So anything that is visible by API can be restored with one single click from here.
Yes. And you can see that by just going into that Get Started page. It's on the home page as well when you're not logged in. But when you're logged in, you can quickly always go down and see exactly what is visible.
How does the backup work? Can you explain that backup process?
So obviously, when it does a backup, it's taking a snapshot of your entire ActiveCampaign account. And depending on the plan that you get, the starter plan actually gives you 7 days of individual snapshots. So what that means is essentially you'll get a snapshot of your account for the next 7 days. And when you go to your backups, you'll see that there's one backup here. Once there's multiple backups, you'll see other lines. So I might just push one through now so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So if I go to inspect, you can see that that's the backup there. But in my dashboard, sorry, in my connections, so under connections, you can actually see what account you have. So obviously this is a 7-day account, meaning I get 7 snapshots. From here, you can actually test your API to make sure that your ActiveCampaign connection is still working. And then you can actually manually run a backup if you want to. Now, this is not really required because it will run automatically when you sign up, and then it will run every 24 hours for the next, well, basically forever. So let's run a backup now anyway. So we've got a second backup that we can have a look at. So it's running that second one now. So essentially what this means is, let's say you have a 7-day backup and 3 days ago, you have a salesperson that got angry, deleted an entire stage on the pipeline, and then quit and walked out the door. You know exactly when that happened. You can go to the restore point before that action and do a full restore of that point in time, I guess, inside the system. So it just gives you the ability to choose your backups and actually do the restore from that individual backup point. So that's why we do offer the different options. So the 7-day backups, essentially what will happen is on day 8, basically you can imagine day 1 is archived and deleted from our backups. So you'll see day 2 to day 8. And then obviously on day 9, it'll be from day 3 to day 9. So that's how the 7-day backup works. You can then obviously choose to get the higher plan, which gives you 30 days of backups, which is really great for businesses because let's face it, if the boss goes away on a 7-day holiday, comes back, realizes something's wrong, then that backup prior to him leaving might not be there on the 7-day backup. So a 30-day backup is really designed for businesses where they have large sales teams and they really need to make sure that things are kept exactly where they need to be. So yes, we've got the 7-day backup, the 30-day backup, a 90-day backup, which is really targeted for enterprise clients. And then we also have a partner program, which allows partners to actually have 50 ActiveCampaign accounts on the one dashboard. And they all have the 30-day backup for the partner program.
Yeah, I could see a real value for any agency that has a large portfolio of ActiveCampaign clients. They need some kind of a backup of that data because a lot of agencies will be using it to grow the lists. And if they lose that that could be quite costly to bring back. And the reputation could also be damaged with their clients. So having some kind of ability to quickly get that data is why I see this power of the CRM Restore really working well for agencies.
Look, absolutely. I mean, you can look at it as an insurance policy, right? No one loves insurance policies. No one wants to pay. But when things go wrong, that's when you're thanking the heavens that there's actually that service that can actually then fix all those problems and make them go away. So it's one of those things that you might not need, but when you do need it, if you don't have that insurance policy, then you're really stuck in a bad place. And when it comes to business, this is your lifeblood.
Mm.
So I'm really excited about this. It's been my pet project for a long time. Any complaints from ActiveCampaign customers going, oh, I just wish that I could have done this or could have done that. And, I've lost all this information and these things have gone wrong. Now there's somewhere where you can basically just put in your API URL and key and let it run in the background. You never have to worry about it.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Where can people find this information?
So crmrestore.com for the actual product, which you can sign up. It's live, it's ready to use right now.
You can just go to bumperleads.com. You can find the links to CRM Restore. Go directly to crmrestore.com. Easily sign up with just an API key. Thank you so much, Corey. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.